Uh, Less be said about the final score. The Bengals suffered their worst loss in franchise history yesterday. Final score 48-10 at the hands of the Minnesota Vikings on the road. Just couldn't get anything going from start to finish, man. Nothing at all. I mean, from the set, there was two penalties that, I didn't think they were penalties, but on Dax Hill, it was just a very poor penalty, but it just wasn't a penalty, and we just came out from the get like very very flat. I mean, they're down 7-0 in a hostile environment on the road. That's never a good place, especially with a backup quarterback. But it is what it is, man. Not not too happy with yesterday's game, man. I have a lot to get into. Um, I mean, I haven't scripted it out or anything. It's just going to kind of be me telling it how it is. But I mean, I don't really need to get into the details of the game because I mean, we all saw what happened. I mean, Brown had a fumble, Chase had a fumble, uh, Noah Fant had a fumble, and he's actually being, I think, diagnosed for a concussion as we speak. But um, you know, defense. I mean, I thought they were average. I mean, I think most of Minnesota's points or half of Minnesota's points, like they just came off turnovers. And let's be real, like in the second half, we just didn't really show any fight at all. So I didn't really expect too much on that front. I thought that the defense honestly was not not horrible. I mean, we were locking them a little bit up in at least the first, I want to say, quarter and a half. I mean, outside of that first drive where there were penalties, I didn't think the defense was all that bad, to be honest. I mean, I think there's many ways you can point. My number one direction, man, is going to be Zac Taylor. I mean, I honestly think he should be fired. I've said this since last year, since I think last. So I'm trying to remember the exact game, but I here's where my direction and my belief of the franchise just wavered. Last year we lost a game 37-17 to the Philadelphia Eagles at home. I think we dropped to 3-5 if I'm not mistaken, and that was the point where I was like, yeah, I don't believe in the organization anymore. I don't believe in them, and I still don't. Ever since then, my view of the franchise has just completely changed. I mean, I was just before I was like, okay, we can right the ship. This is a new era and everything, but I'm not saying they're as bad as like we're running like the '90s or like the early 2000s and whatnot, but they're not. I just don't trust the organization, to be honest. I didn't. I thought they were going to get back to the Super Bowl at some point. Now I do not have that belief anymore. I was just kind of I'm just kind of sick of it, to be honest, man. I mean, I needed a little bit of a break from talking about the team. Even you saw I didn't even put out a picks video. I just made a community post talking about my picks. Um, and it just kind of seems like this team is just I don't know where they go from here, to be honest. I mean, I think they need to do a complete rehaul and starting with the head coach. And it sucks, but I don't think the season's over. I think that it's just. I mean, if we're gonna be happy about two ugly wins, we can't be happy about our. We can't be down in the dumps in the sense like the season's over, write them off. Um, After one loss. I mean, if a win's a win, a loss is a loss. So, I don't know where they go from here because, like I said, I'm not saying that they're gonna run the table and whatnot. I'm not saying that they're even gonna make the playoffs. I don't think they are in a position where they can say they will. But at the end of the day, man, it's just a loss. So I'm not going to put too much stock into it. But the worst loss of your franchise history in the first full game without your, franchise quarterback, who you are just, I mean, you're just wasting. You're wasting him. You're wasting prime years from Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and all of them, man. I mean, it's just not a good. It's not a good look for the organization, and it just kind of gives the entire media and just everybody in general to kind of bank on pile on the organization. And and not to say it's not deserved, but it's like at some point, man, enough is enough. I mean, you're hurting the fans. You're really not showing that you're not showing the fans that you're even caring, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't, but That effort yesterday, not having your team ready, man, that just doesn't sit right with me, and I don't think it should sit right with any fan, to be honest. But yeah, man, I mean the offensive line was putrid. The defense, I mean, they are better than they were last year, but when you have the worst offense in the league to combat it in the first three games, I mean that's not very complimentary. And as I said, if we're gonna win some games this year, man, it's the offense has to step up. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I know that they have an extra day of preparation heading into Denver, who's coming off a loss to the Chargers, I believe. So obviously they're in a must-win situation, I would say. And the Bengals, I mean, they're 2-1, but they're going to a hostile environment in Denver. So I'm not going to say that the Broncos are, any easy test and whatever. I mean, Denver's a team that I mean, we struggle against, but we did beat them last year. We beat them in Denver in 2021. Like we have some decently good history against them, but I mean this year I just don't have a good feeling. And I have to be a realist. I can't come here and tell you, oh, we're gonna beat the Broncos. We're gonna go all out for you know we're not gonna beat the Broncos if we're playing like this. Plain and simple, we're not. So, I think this is it for Zac Taylor. To be honest, I don't know if he gets fired because he does have a year on his contract. But if I'm the Bengals, man, I really I have to move off from him. To be honest, he hasn't given this team. I don't want to hear about a Super Bowl appearance. I don't want to hear about the conference championship appearance. I really don't. That was masked with talent. That was masked with having Joe Burrow. I mean, this guy just isn't the guy. He's not getting us back to the Super Bowl. He's not getting us to win a Super Bowl. That's what we play the game for. That's what teams play for, not to get there, to win. And at the end of the day, man, we didn't win. So we can say what we want about those 2 great years that, I'll never forget. But again, we didn't get it done. And a lot of that was because of his play calling. I mean, you look at that last drive in the Super Bowl, not to go back like 1,000 years, but, they did like, I think 2 running plays. I don't like it. And I'm not a fan of his play calling. I'm not a fan of how he got the team ready to play yesterday. I mean, they just didn't show up. So, and that's not what a team needs. First of all, when they're 2-0 and also when they're losing a franchise quarterback, that's not how you come out ready, man. So, let's be said about that. But I just wanted to get my thoughts on there. It's just it's not a good place to be in. I mean, somehow, some way, they're leading the AFC North still and through 3 weeks, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if Baltimore takes care of business tonight, they're going to take that top spot because I think they got a wider margin to win against a division rival. And to make matters worse, both Cleveland and Pittsburgh won yesterday while Cincinnati lost. So not a good look for the Bengals, man. Not a good place to be in. Not a good place to not a good place to 3 weeks. Because I think this team is in danger of getting a top 5 pick. If I'm being honest with you, they are. The schedule is brutal, and if they don't start making changes soon, we could be looking at a rough year. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm totally out on Jake Browning, but you got to look for a quarterback or start Mike White or do something, man. You got to go. You got to go get somebody because this isn't cutting it. At 2-1, your season's not dead. You got to go all out. So I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say like the season's over. I'm not gonna write them off yet, but I'm just saying it's not a good look. And it's just to have your worst loss in franchise history 1 game after not going to send a good message to the fans. So the scheme needs to change. Everything needs to change. Zac Taylor should be just absolutely embarrassed. I don't want to hear the same cop-out answer like we need to be better. That's not acceptable. Obviously, Zach, it's not acceptable. And, to be honest, man, the Bengals are pretty lucky that the Reds for once. I mean, usually this time of year the Reds are eliminated, so the talk of the town is the Bengals, but the Reds, being in the playoff picture now, I mean, that kind of masked a little bit of the Bengals, not to say that people weren't still talking about it around town, but, their failures were masked, and the game just wasn't good, start to finish. So, yeah, I mean, let's be said about that. The Bengals, yeah, they're in a dark spot, man. I think they're going to be headed to a dark place, and, it's just sad for me as a fan because, the one thing I want for this team, man, I want to see a Super Bowl win. I've always said like just one will do for, I've seen, the Bucks obviously win two natties. I've seen the Cavs win a title. I need to see the Bengals and Reds do it someday. I'm hoping that they can, but the direction of this franchise now, man, has just completely changed over the last 4 years. They didn't get it done, and it could be a long time before they're headed back. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks to be in this position, man. As a fan, I don't really have any reason to be optimistic. I mean, if you are, kudos to you. But yesterday's game, I got to see more from this team to be any optimistic. Again, the season's not done, but yeah, we need to win some games for me to get any confidence back, especially in this tough stretch. But at the end of the day, man, Jamar Chase and the offense has to be better. I just think they were flat, they were outmatched, and that just again the Vikings are. I think they're a good team, but just for them to lose like that, man, it's so nasty. And first time since 2017, I believe they beat us because we usually beat them in Cincinnati, but they've blown us out in Minnesota, and it's not particularly close in any of the games we've played there that I can remember. So yeah, I mean, do what you can, man. 8-day trip heading into a long weekend against Denver. It sucks not having Joe Burrow. I mean, for one, we clamored about the whole season how we're excited, and then at the end, and it just not even the second game, and Burrow's already hurt. So it just sucks right now. It sucks to be a Bengals fan. It sucks to be a Cincinnati sports fan. I don't care if the Reds are in the playoffs or not. They are. They're not an easy team to root for. This is not two really really tough teams to root for, man. Um, Regardless of how this Red season ends, regardless of what the Bengals do this year, man, it's just tough to be a fan, and it sucks. But as always, gonna root for them to hopefully get some wins before Burrow comes back. If he comes back in the regular season, I think realistically he'll be back for a postseason if they somehow make it. But I don't see that happening, to be honest with you, man. So I want to talk a little bit about why I took a break, though, because I'm kind of sick of it because obviously I started this channel in December 2023, or January 2024, whatever it was. And I think my first video was the wild card picks of the playoffs. So I was really, I was kind of looking forward to these like weekly picks and everything. Um, but man, over time, it just became like once Joe went down, I was just like, not this again, man. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying I didn't predict them to win a single game, but it's just like I'm just tired of like the same old thing because like you know I just needed a break. That's it. I was too upset about the Burrow injury. I was just like, here we go again. There's always something. I mean, when our offense is healthy and rolling, our defense decides to be the a bottom five defense, and now our defense, I would say, is maybe league average, maybe a little below, but I would say league average. And now it's the worst offense. It's just the same thing. There's always something, and it just never seems to fall into place. I mean, even like in 2022 when we made an AFC Championship run. Three of our offensive linemen get hurt, and then what do you know? 5 sacks in the AFC Championship game. 7 sacks in the Super Bowl, 7 sacks in the divisional round, or 9 sacks, whatever it was. It's just like nothing just seems to fall into place. I'm not saying that we win the Super Bowl every year, but one year where the chips are just falling into place would be nice. And it's just like I was just sick and tired of like the same old thing. I was just like, I just don't. I was too devastated to even like want to come on here, and I was just kind of like losing the, I guess, interest in talking about the Jaguars Bengals game because of Joe's injury. And just like, I mean, I'm happy we won, don't get me wrong, but man, the Vikings game, I mean, that was also just another one where I'm like, do I really have to talk about it? But then I kind of realized like it's kind of my duty and like my responsibility to do this because like obviously as someone that started the channel, I provide for the fans. I provide for, guys that come on here and watch the videos. I'm not saying I have the highest subscriber count or highest view count ever, but I think I kind of realize it's my job to do this thing, and something that if I commit to something, I have to keep doing it. So that's why I'm gonna start doing these previews and picks again. That's just kind of my what I'm gonna do, and I'm making that a promise because at the end of the day, I'm trying to like I can't really like it's hard to sometimes watch football when the Bengals lose because I'm just like it just takes my mood away from football like the entire day. So I'm just like, man, why do I have to watch these games when my team lost? So if we got it done one of those years, like 2021 to 2022, even 2023, if Burrow stayed healthy, if we got it done, it would be like, okay, we got a Super Bowl, but we don't have that, and it's just like, it just they're finding ways to crush me in the most excruciating way possible. So it was just like I needed a little bit of like a week break from from talking about picks or even the Bengals previews, but then I realized like I started this channel for a reason. It wasn't just you're not going to win every game. Not everything's going to go your way. I mean, sure, I would like something to go our way. I mean, our franchise quarterback being out till December when it's the worst possible scenario of turf toe that I've ever seen. Like it sucks, but that's like the beauty of being a Cincinnati sports fan. So that's why I took a little bit of a break this week. I'm just like I can't do this anymore. I just needed a little bit of time off. But I'll be back for this preview, the picks, and obviously I wanted to recap the game. It was just something that I wanted to do. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'll still be here. I mean, I'll make previews. I'll talk about the team. I'll rage about the team if I have to, but I really don't see myself raging because I don't really expect too much. So I know a lot of people, like a lot of my rage videos get the highest views. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna rage too much because right now I'm at the point where I'm not really expecting too much. I mean, the Bengals play the Broncos next Monday. I don't really expect much for that game. So if they lose, I'll be upset obviously because they lost, but it's not gonna just irritate the crap out of me. Um, so yeah, I mean it's disappointing, but that's kind of why I took a break, man. I needed just a week off, uh, just to kind of fall back into place a little bit. But 2-1 on to Denver, not a terrible record, but again, not too happy about it. I mean, I don't think any Bengals fan is too happy, but at the end of the day, man, 2-1, it's 2-1. On to Denver. Hopefully, we come out ready to play. I mean, you have an extra day of prep. If we come out flat, there's absolutely no excuse because, to be honest, man, Zach hasn't really earned it. So he needs to come ready to play. He needs to show that he's the guy. Because I really don't have a lot of faith right now. But you guys have a good one. Go Bengals at the end of the day, and I'll see you guys next time.